Hello and welcome to Rajya Sabha Television. You're watching Big Picture with me, Vishal Dahiya. United States President Donald Trump is visiting India from 24th of February. So what will be the ramifications of this visit? What does the US expect from this visit? And more importantly, how is India looking at it? We'll try to answer these questions and many more in our special series, Trump in India. And today we are talking about the deepening defense ties or the strategic partnership between India and United States. Now, the defense cooperation between India and United States of America has grown significantly, with India procuring over $18 billion worth of defense items from USA in the past decade or so. Defense relationship has emerged as a major pillar of India-US strategic partnership. Days ahead of President Donald Trump's maiden visit to India, Cabinet Committee on Security has approved procurement of 24 AH-64E Romeo Naval Multirole Helicopters and 6 AH-64E Apache attack helicopters. Last week, the US administration had also approved the sale of integrated air defense weapons system to India at an approximate cost of $1.9 billion US. Now, both countries have also signed agreements for enhanced cooperation in the defense sector and mutual logistic support as well. To further understand the scope and future of defense ties between both the nations, we have with us a distinguished panel of guests today. Let me first introduce the guests to you, beginning with Mr. Shekhar Dutt, former Secretary in the Ministry of Defense, is with us here. We also have Mr. Alok Bansal, the Director of India Foundation, and Lieutenant General Dr. V.K. Saxena, Distinguished Fellow, PIF. Welcome, all of you gentlemen, to Rajya Sabha TV studios. Let me begin with you, Mr. Dutt. And since you've been with the Defense Ministry in the South Bloc, let's understand as to what exactly are the contours of India-US strategic partnership, specifically the defense segment of that.
See, firstly, I must explain that US and India are two of the world's largest democracies. We follow the rule of law, and there's a significant increase in trust over a period of almost now 15 years. And after the Cold War was over, from a bipolar world, we transited into multipolar, and India gradually became strong economically as well as militarily. So the US noticed a very desirable change in this feature and came out themselves to improve the trust between the two countries.
Okay.
So over this thing, the framework for defense cooperation, and that was negotiated in 2005, the enormous changes have happened in the background of the two countries' defense relations.
Okay.
We've had set up defense policy group, defense procurement and production group, then the group which concerns itself with the defense research and security. That means to ensure that we are at the same page of security of the defense technology, and then joint military exercises.
Okay.
In fact, now the joint military exercises have grown to a very, very significant level of air, sea and land at all this
tri-service exercise, that is, which has been conducted by both India and United States. Mr. Bansal, your views on the entire gamut or the spectrum of this defense partnership between India and United States?
We need to understand, as Mr. Dutt said, that India and US have congruence of interests, congruence of values, being both democracies with pluralism as their hallmark. I think the two countries naturally inch closer. After the hiatus that we had during the Cold War, when we had drifted apart, we have been coming consistently together. Indo-US defense partnership in 2008 was virtually zero. From that, we have reached $18 billion per annum. Now, recently, the US ambassador said that they want to take it to $80 billion per annum, which is a huge. Right now, this DefExpo in Lucknow and the UP Industrial Defense Corridor, which is coming up, a large number of US companies have shown interest in investing. Prime Minister Modi is one of the most signature event or policy has been Make in India. And this Make in India is premised on defense production. Till now, there have been huge restrictions. Of late, US government has removed certain restrictions which were existing as far as US companies investing in India was concerned. And as a result, what we will see is that we will have greater investment. Many of the US companies will relocate their production facilities in India. Already there are huge congruence. Boeing has tied up with HAL and making certain parts of certain helicopters, and then Lockheed Martin has tied up with certain companies in India who are producing certain parts of various aircraft. So we have, but as of now, it's a very small end, that buyback arrangement which is there, where small components are being built. I hope Lockheed Martin at one stage had said that they will set up a full aircraft production facility to India. If that comes up, that will be a huge big. But we need to understand, see, because of our historical differences, there has been certain apprehensions. And as a result, India has been reluctant to forego its autonomy. Whereas US is used to dealing with allies who actually come totally on board. We have had a lot of differences on certain protocols because India by nature likes its autonomy. Strategic autonomy has been a very salient feature. And as a result, it took some time for us to allay those apprehensions and the suspicions that we had of each other. And now that's gone away. And right now what we have is that we have the cooperation at the highest level. This 2+2 arrangement which we have is, I think, the best way forward for strengthening the strategic security environment. And during this particular visit of President Trump, I think the most significant deal that's going to be signed, because I don't think so any trade deal is going to happen, is going to be the defense deal. And that's what, as you said, the 24 AH-60R helicopters and 6 Apaches which are going to be procured is going, to my mind, is going to be the biggest deal that's going to be signed during this particular thing. And these 24 helicopters, especially the naval versions, we have been requiring it for a long time, because Sea Kings which were acquired in 80s have overrun their lives, and Indian Navy was without any multi-role helicopters. The ALH which we have got can only perform certain light duties. So the anti-submarine, anti-surface, the responsibilities that we wanted, the ships at sea wanted, I think that would be fulfilled by these helicopters coming in, because they have a fitment where you could fit them with torpedoes, you could fit them with Hellfire missiles and things like that. And they have also got extremely good sensors, because when we are going for American platforms, one of the biggest advantages is the American sensors are far superior. Because we have been using Soviet weapon systems, which as weapons are fairly sturdy. But it is the sensors where I feel that the Western sensors sometimes very often have an edge over the ones which we have acquired from the Soviet Union. We'll
look at that aspect as well. But then, as you're pointing out, it is expected that those 30 helicopters, the deal for that might happen, and that might be one of the largest deals coming through this particular visit. But General Saxena, from your point of view, not only the evolution, as both the gentlemen pointed out, but also if you look at the way relationship has moved in the past 10 years or so, in terms of the defense metrics, if you look at, from both sides, from the United States angle and from the Indian angle as well.
Sir, actually, this is a story of no-go, from as he has brought out, from 2007-8 till now. Actually, I have, in my service time of about 40 years, I have seen most of these things happening. I remember a time between 1999 and 2010. Our old defense secretary is also here. There used to be a total mismatch between the US way of things, like foreign military sales, and our defense procurement procedure. And many a times, many of the defense procurement deals, they used to fail at the very beginning of, we used to go through the procedures of request for information, finding out the GSQR, making the GSQR, sending out the request for proposal, RFPs, doing out the trials and carrying out contract negotiation, where they would want a government-to-government deal in which we will have to send a letter of request, they will send a letter of acceptance. Many a thing, there was an incongruence. This was till 2010-12. Then in December 2012, I remember clearly, that time the Secretary of the US was Leon Panetta, and the Deputy Defense Secretary of Defense was Ashton Charter. They said that why not, instead of just standing apart and losing out on every big deal, why don't we have a bilateral arrangement between the two nations, as Sir brought out, that in which the entire relationship, defense relationship, is bound by strategic decision making between government to government, and thereafter many other things open. At that time, Defense Trade and Technology Initiative DTTI was formed in 2012. Now what happened? In 2014, September 2014, Prime Minister Modi announced the Make in India policy. And in 2015, when President Obama came, this DTTI got a very big boost, because it not only got connected with the Make in India initiative, it also got standing on its own feet today in the term of 6 prior units. Now, from this DTTI onward, this was around 2015. Now in 2015, many other things also happened. In 2016, India became a major defense partner of US by choice. And thereafter in 2017-18, 3 strategic agreements got signed. That is, you already know, LIMOA, COMCASA and BECA. What are these arrangements? One is with logistics, and other is with compatibility in communication security, and third is with exchange of geospatial information. All these things happened. Thereafter, between 2013 to 2017, the defense trade between India and US grew by 557%.
That's
now,
a huge
this
number.
is a sort of record. Now, imagine, thereafter, as a defense person, as an army officer, I can count that, imagine the platform from C-130 Hercules to C-17 Globemaster to Apache to MH-60R, not to forget, we discussed here itself, the MH-777 ultra-light howitzer, also selling the Sea Guardian, the armed version of the Sea Guardian.
And let's not forget the small arms like 6-STOR and all that.
Yes, and also last week we discussed about the National Air Defense surface-to-air missile system, which has not come alone, which has come with lot of other, like Stinger missiles, Vishurat system, communication system. Now, what is all this happening? This is a relationship which is bound by interests and challenges.
Okay.
Now, these interests and challenges is what I call the India-US matrix. Now, talk of India-US matrix. First, talk of US. There is a US matrix. What is their interest? After all, they say global opportunities and so on. 2 interests. First interest, everybody knows, geopolitics and the growing assertiveness, both economic and military, of China in the South China Sea region, in the Indian Ocean region, in the Indo-Pacific region. Now, that is one, how to have a counterbalance either alone with US or with Australia or Japan, trilateral, quadrilateral. And other is economic relationship. Economic relationship of a country which is starting at $0 is today now bouncing at 18 billion US dollars. That is what is driving this relationship. On the Indian side, Sir just brought about, what are our challenges? We have been very proud in saying strategic partnership, we want to retain strategic independence and all, but what are the challenges? We have French aircrafts, we have Russian missiles, we have Israeli unarmed aerial system, we have US National Air Defense surface-to-air missile system. Who will do the integration in a national air defense? We have discussed on this platform.
Yes, interoperability and integration.
Yes, MH-60R. What has sorry, not MH-60R, the French people in Rafale deal, what they have said? They said the Meteor BVRAM, which we are giving you on 36 Rafale platform, is not integrable on Tejas Mark 1, it is not integrable on Sukhoi 30 MKI. What does it mean? It means that we have to address the challenge of interoperability. We have to challenge that. We have to do strategic autonomy, fine. We have been, everybody, there was a huge rush.
So what you're pointing out here is that, there are opportunities as well as challenges, not only from India's point of view, but from the United States point of view as well. Quite, interesting points made out by General Saxena there. Let me bring you in, Mr. Datta. And if you look at all this, the gamut of these deals which have been signed and these platforms which we have procured and all that, obviously, one aspect is integration and interoperability, but other aspect is TOT as well, the transfer of technology. So, since the motive here, as Mr. Bansal was pointing out, Make in India and indigenous aspect as well, have we moved further ahead on the TOT aspect also when we talk about deepening defense ties with United States?
Certainly. I think that is the underlying aim of this partnership. And like what has been pointed out, that we have a fair amount of platforms which has been taken, say from P-8 aircraft to C-17, C-130J, and then the helicopters. Now, all of them are in their own way integrated with each other because they form part of the same force. Now, with proper integrated approach of our this thing, and this will because of the CDSs coming into the picture, will be very much easier that all our forces, including Navy, Naval Air, Air Force, all will be on the same platform. And therefore, it will be far more easier now for us to have integrated use of these platforms, and we would be able to start off with maintenance, repair, and then manufacture.
On the TOT front, Mr. Bansal, have we moved ahead?
I guess so, because recently US government has passed certain resolutions which certain restrictions which US companies had on some of them have been waived off, and I guess I had the good fortune of meeting the Chief Minister of UP. He seemed quite confident that huge investment is coming into this defense corridor, and I guess they will move up. But when we were talking of integration, we need to look at integration is because ours is a very unique country. We get equipment and weapons from virtually any country in the world, and we have something from Sweden, something from France, something from Russia, something from Poland, something
even
from
South
US.
Korea.
So all over. So integrating these different systems on a platform has been a very complex thing, and I think Indian Navy has been in the forefront because very early, I think as early as 80s, they integrated in Godavari class of ships Soviet weapon systems with Western sensors. And I think they have done phenomenally well. In fact, Navy has taken a head start as far as the three services is concerned, both in terms of indigenization as well as innovation is concerned. And that is important because now we will have a mixed inventory. Now, the problems of mixed inventory is that you have huge spares, the maintenance becomes that much more expensive. I think somewhere we need to standardize, and that is where I think transfer of technology and Make in India is important. Because the moment Make in India comes, you can actually standardize that this is going to be our platform, we are going to build up on this, we are not going to go for any other thing. So this is it, because this is being built in India, we are going to. The companies which invest in India, they'll have the advantage of cheap labor, a huge market, a committed market, but the government policies have to come on board. You need to make a committed order, because for any company to invest, innovate, and come out with a new design, you need to have some commitment of some order or something like that. So we need to work out certain policies as to how we need to go ahead with it. Please understand one thing, that this order that is going to be signed during President Trump's deal, it is as much in US interest as much as it is in India's interest. Please understand, US President is coming during an election year. It's an election visit. Indian diaspora in US matters a lot. It's the most influential diaspora. It is the most rich diaspora. The per capita income of Indian diaspora is even higher than the Jewish diaspora. It wields enormous influence. On top of that, Lockheed Martin was facing tough times. This order will ensure that jobs remain, and that's where I think it will make an impact on him, and that's why he's coming on this sort of a whirlwind tour to India before his re-election.
Okay, another aspect, in terms of, since you spoke about the economic aspect, which is very closely linked to the domestic politics as far as the United States is concerned, which Mr. Saxena pointed out, is the aspect in terms of, from the United States angle, the opportunity wherein, strike that balance between the regional forces vis-a-vis China as well. That becomes a challenge for India as well. So if you look at it from Indian angle, Mr. Bansal, how do we go ahead and look at it? And let's also not forget our long-time ally Russia in terms of defense partnership.
See, there is no doubt that India has to tread that fine line because we are part of the Quad, but we have always said this Quad is not against China or anything. We have our relations with China have been improving consistently. In fact, in FATF this time China has actually asked Pakistan that now time is up, please start giving a deadline. So we have seen a lot of improvement, though we did not join RCEP, but our relation and Russia has been our consistent, because see, in 80s and subsequently even as late as 2000, I think 93, 94 also, we have seen, in fact after the nuclear blast of 98, we had severe sanctions, and there have been only very few countries which stood by us. One was the Soviet bloc, and the only Western country which stood by us was probably France, because Jacques Chirac came here for the Republic Day parade in 98. So that I think shows that we have to tread a fine balance. We cannot totally ally ourselves with the West, but if they are willing to invest in India and if the production facilities are, we have no problems, because as long as the production facilities are in India, you can be confident that the supplies are going to be with you, because unlike in the past when there was a time when they had completely curtailed supplies of defense goods and many of our weapon platforms were actually grounded because there were no spares, there were no maintenance. That sort of a situation we would definitely not like in future. So as a result, unless of course we are assured of a consistent supply, which Americans have in the past been reluctant to do so. Okay. They had certain conditionalities which we have been trying to.
Okay, so consistency in terms of supply, which will happen only if it's indigenously being made, and that treading that fine line between the traditional partners and the strategic relationship as well. General Saxena, concluding comments from you in terms of the way ahead for this deepening defense relationship between both countries. Where do we see the future?
Sir, the way ahead, again I will bring you on to the matrix between US and India. Now, Ashley Tellis, writing on this visit a few days back, has said that while the president goes there, but there is a worry on the president's mind, not on this defense deal or the defense relationship. He wants our economy to continue to prosper, our social cohesion to continue to maintain, so that we continue to maintain the trend of buying relationship. That is one. Second, what are the big challenge on our side? The big challenge on our side is, by the fate accomplished circumstances over a period of time, we have been able to, we have built a diverse inventory of various countries I talked about. Now, what is it with us? Firstly, we have to ensure, like we are discussing the other day, we already have a national level battle management command and control system in which we have to ensure that in a net-centric warfare of today and tomorrow, the systems which come and match up and patch up on that. Okay. Number one. Number two, our renewed faith must go in our own indigenous muscle and capability. Today in the artillery, we have our 155 Dhanush, we have our SP guns. Today in air defense, we have our guns, we have V-Shroud missiles, quick reaction SAM. In infantry, we have our own muscle. At the same time, this transfer technology, which the DTTI US has always been reluctant to, we have to ensure that too many weapon systems across board will become very difficult to handle. Okay. Therefore, we have to ensure that the inventory remains operable, number one. Number two, our own indigenous muscle of our military capability has to grow. Our defense procurement has come a long, long way as defense. If you see, 60 to 70% of all in the defense expo was Indian, was Indian made. And that is where we have to follow this right. We may have 10 different countries supplying us, but we should believe in our own and ensure that our own technology extracted from the others continues to serve us today, tomorrow, and day after.
Ultimately, that is the ultimate goal out there. Thank you, General Saxena, Mr. Dutt, and Mr. Bansal there as well for your views. So there it is, as our panelists have pointed out, the entire spectrum of the defense relationship between India and United States, there are several opportunities and challenges as well for both sides, that is India and America. And let's wait and watch as to how this relationship further prospers in the time to come. We'll keep bringing you all other aspects of the relations between India and United States in our show. Keep watching Rajya Sabha Television.